Et bonjour YouTube, on enchaîne avec Xbox pour le direct de The Outer World. On va aussi faire le débrief de la conférence Xbox, on est toujours avec Eurons. Oh, c'est speed. On va baisser un petit peu le son parce que même si c'est intéressant, on va s'entendre un petit peu plus quand même. Ouais, bah comme l'an dernier, comme les 2 dernières années, Xbox casse tout. Hein.
Bah c'est des monstres, hein. Qu'est-ce que je te dise, les mecs ils ont tout, ils sont trop forts.
Franchement, note 18
bien...
sur 20.
Oui bah tout pareil. Hein,
Je mets un 18. Franchement, je crois qu'il n'y a pas un jeu en dessous des autres. Enfin, dans son domaine, chaque jeu dans son domaine, il est juste bien, attirant. Franchement, il y en a pour tout le monde et chaque fois c'est de qualité. Il n'y a rien à dire, il n'y a pas de temps mort.
Franchement j'avais le seum cette année, je trouvais ça nul, merci Xbox. Putain.
Point noir, tout en 2026 par contre. Au minimum.
Bravo à eux, hein. Genre ils sont juste trop forts en fait. Heureusement qu'ils sont là, hein, parce que...
Ouais, là j'avoue que putain la vache, c'est...
On a beau dire qu'ils vendent pas et tout, sans Xbox sur le marché, bon bref, on se fait chier. Quoi qu'on en dise, hein. Objectivement, c'est pas les deux exclus de PS5 qui se battent en canard chaque année qui ont aidé le marché.
Ah bah non, bien sûr que non. Là, ça fait 2 ans que Xbox, ils sont largement devant. Ça c'est sûr.
Et qui proposent du contenu qualitatif et tout, écoute de communauté, dès qu'il y a des problèmes, ils patchent et tout. Genre vraiment...
C'est vrai que c'est assez incroyable.
C'est pas toujours des jeux à 90 de métacritique, mais au moins ils sont là. Quoi.
Ouais, puis il y en a vraiment pour tous les goûts, quoi. Vraiment, c'est hyper.
Tu veux du shooter, il y a du shooter. Hein. Tu veux de l'indé, il y a de l'indé. Tu veux du gacha, il y a du gacha. Tu veux du japonais, il y a du japonais.
C'est vraiment très très large, quoi, en termes de choix. C'est fou, quoi. Clairement.
Tu veux manger à la carte, il y a le Game Pass. Tu veux pas manger à la carte, bah achète ton jeu sur Steam. Tu vois. Let's go. Vas-y, Outer World, ce sera forcément bien. Le 1 était bien. Les créateurs de Fallout 3.
Ouais, c'est toi, voilà. Après, j'avoue que je connais pas des matchs. Je pense que c'est pas le jeu vraiment que je joue. Mais...
C'est du FPS à papa avec du lore. Tu vois Skyrim, bah c'est pareil.
Ok.
The first Outer Worlds was a great base to start from, as it has all the elements of a great Obsidian RPG. Interesting characters, deep worlds, important choices. In the Outer Worlds 2, not only did we want to double down on those elements, but
on parlait aussi de Grounded 2 normalement.
We've also put a lot of investment into skills and traits that impact things like combat, conversations, and areas that we call RPG interactions.
Par contre, ouais, quand on parle en 2026, je sais pas comment on va faire pour jouer à tout. Hein. Vraiment. Déjà, GTA il va prendre 4 mois sur les 12. Plus tu rajoutes les jeux de chez Xbox. T'auras forcément 1 ou 2 jeux chez Sony. Ça va être compliqué en 2026. Hein. Mais c'est trop bien parce que ça va être la meilleure année de... Vous croyez que ça va être 2025 la meilleure année, ça va être 2026 finalement, je pense. Ou une des meilleures années de toute l'histoire. Mais je sais pas comment on va faire. Hein. Faut mettre les sous de côté. Faut prévoir un porte-monnaie pour tout acheter.
Il y a trop de jeux là.
Ah non mais ouais. Après... Possiblement, il y en a peut-être qui seront repoussés hein, de tout ce qui a été annoncé là ce soir déjà.
Bien sûr.
Mais quand même quoi. Franchement, il y a combien de jeux là sur tout ce qui a été annoncé ce soir? Il y a 1, 2, 3,
You can think of them as kind of like space cowboys or space sky marshals.
4.
They're the good guys that go into places and kind of fix everything that's wrong. You're gonna be one of those, but we don't tell you why you join the Earth Directorate. There could have been a lot of different reasons, right? It could have been you're an actual lawbringer and you want to go in there and spread law throughout the galaxy.
En prenant en compte les DLC et tout ça.
You just had nothing better to do. After you pick your background, one of the really important choices you have next is choosing your traits. While we had attributes in the first Outer Worlds, we've leaned into traits for the Outer Worlds 2, which are the
ouais, je vais peut-être me prendre. J'attendrai du coup le DLC, mais Indiana Jones, je le ferai peut-être en septembre en live.
So it could be something like brilliant, where you can tag extra skills and you start getting extra skill points. And that's obviously really great if that's how you want to build your character. You can also go and do something like Lucky.
Mais après, il y a des gens qui disent qu'il y a quand même rien, qu'il n'y a pas de jeu, hein, franchement. Je comprends pas.
Bon, faut les se faire foutre. Hein.
Parce que moi, je sais plus quoi faire, hein, quoi choisir. Ce que je disais cet après-midi là, avec toutes les confs de jeux qui sont un peu moins gros, mais du coup, ce qui fait que c'est plus indé, mais t'as beaucoup de démos. Et je disais, rien que pour tester les jeux, faire une démo qui dure que 1 heure, on peut prévoir une semaine de stream, le temps de faire toutes les démos quoi. Genre,
c'est vrai.
Juste pour faire toutes les démos qui existent, tu prévois une semaine de stream non-stop, hein, je pense. Vraiment, c'est une dinguerie.
After you've invested in some of your traits, your next choices are going to be choosing your skills. The skills themselves basically allow you to build on your playstyle and what your character is doing in the game. That will be everything from playing stealthily to speccing for an explosive specialty.
T'as des compétences, c'est ça l'histoire?
Ça, t'as des compétences, tu te balades, tu fais des quêtes, t'as des choix moraux, tes games, elles ressemblent à aucune des autres, etc.
Ok. Ça, c'est eux qui sont sortis en même temps que le premier Outer Worlds était sorti en même temps que celui qui a le même nom là quasiment.
Ah oui, à Outer Wild.
Ouais.
Mais après, c'est pas les mêmes jeux.
Non, c'est pas les mêmes,
c'est pas les mêmes jeux, du coup, ils ont réussi à se faire leur place tous les deux.
Je crois qu'ils étaient sortis la même semaine à l'époque.
Ouais, je crois.
If anybody's played Fallout New Vegas, they'll be very familiar with like the perk system. We basically borrowed that, but went even grander. We actually have more perks than Fallout New Vegas did. But here's the cool thing, right? We check and use perks for literally everything, right? So you can do everything from, hey, I want to make a stealthy build that steals stuff and is really good at that. Okay, great. Well, you can take maybe the pickpocketing perk. So that's not available to everybody, but if you select that,
t'as des classes après dedans ou non? C'est juste en fonction des
compétences. C'est toi qui crée tout.
Ouais.
Y a pas de classe définie, c'est vraiment toi qui fais tout. C'est à la carte. C'est vraiment ton expérience à toi.
D'accord.
Oh man, I really like the serial killer perk. As you start killing people, they will drop hearts. And you can take those hearts, and essentially you're taking these trophies, you could say, and it's actually giving you a permanent health bonus every time you do it. We have this perk called Assassin. Now this is an early game perk that you can take, which every time you stealth attack an enemy, you're actually going to get a movement bonus for a certain amount of time.
Flaws were a system that everybody loved from the first game, but we wanted to make it more personal to the player. We wanted it to really reflect how you were playing the game, give you a bonus that you actually wanted to really engage with.
With the flaw system returning, we knew we needed to go bigger, better, and more real than ever before. So, we turned to the team. I told them, no bad ideas. Give me what you got. Okay, we need more flaws. We need them to be real. I want to put them in the game, so give me something. Inspiration. What's wrong with you?
Oh, I have bad knees.
You have bad knees? They hurt when you walk a lot?
Yes.
When you walk too much, they hurt?
No cartilage.
Sounds boring. Makes you sound like a boring person, but it's in the game. It's a good flaw. What about you?
I like to take small things sometimes.
So you're stealing?
No, I'm taking.
When do you give them back?
I don't.
Yeah, you shouldn't be stealing. What are you doing? You shouldn't be stealing, Claire.
Tiny crimes.
Tiny crimes? Do you hear the second
On l'a assez joué forcément, mais je suis sûr que dans des réunions, ça va tellement être ça en mode.
You can't steal things, okay?
Ça va être épique.
But it's an amazing flaw that I'm putting in the game. But you're a bad person. And are you the one that took my stapler?
Do you need it?
Yeah. Give it back.
Okay.
Please. You, what do we got? Flaw.
Ils sont drôles, ils sont drôles.
I like to stare at the sun.
How long did you stare at the sun?
Just lunch break.
An hour?
Oh, I only get 30. You guys get an hour?
I get an hour.
I get an hour.
Oh. Makes you feel energized.
How many fingers am I hold up?
3?
No. Anything else? We'll put it in the game. We'll put it in the game because I feel bad for you. Anything else?
One of my favorite flaws is something called bad knees. Will actually give you the option to take this flaw that'll make it so that you move faster throughout the game. But the problem is, anytime you stand up, your knees are going to make a loud popping noise that makes it so that, well, everyone around you is going to hear you.
There's one called Kleptomaniac.
Ouais, c'est ça, quand t'as le truc au genou, tes genoux ils craquent et du coup ils entendent.
Steal something, you can actually sell it for more bits than normal.
Ça, c'est le truc de la meuf disait, de voler.
The drawback is sometimes when you're looking at things in the world that are owned by somebody else, you'll automatically steal them. So you have to be very careful about how you use them.
Ouais, forcément, tu peux te faire voir.
Perks is the Sun Gazer Flaw, and it just gives everyone cataracts.
Il y aura une cataracte au joueur.
So everything becomes like
quel enfer.
Light shafts and blooms.
Oui, bah c'est Outer Worlds, c'est vraiment ça.
If you happen to be the type of player that habitually reloads your weapons like I do, well, you'll be offered the flaw of over-prepared. Now, you'll
ça c'est moi ça. Je fais que tu recharges toujours les armes. De peur de manquer de
magazine, you're gonna take a debuff for a while. While we support options like being a gunslinger who wants to key into destructive weapons, or a rogue who wants to alpha strike their enemies before they know what hit them, we also allow for a lot of fun and experimental builds.
Ah, c'est pour toi ça.
A mad scientist who utilizes gadgets
expérimente les builds.
Weapons and armors. Or even a psychopath who gets
to
help by murdering their friends.
Nothing shows the impact of these character build options better than, in my opinion, the bridge area, which has a quest you get early on in Paradise Island.
Le pont.
Not only do you kind of encounter this very early, and it's a very core one to the story, but it really expresses our philosophy of allowing the player to solve problems in a bunch of ways. So you may solve it by, speech options. You may talk to them and maybe have to go do a quest for them and really kind of prove that you're a friend of the Protectorate to get by.
I may have need of your help, stranger, if you are ready to seize an opportunity to show fealty to the Protectorate.
You could go guns blazing and you could just take everyone out inside the POI, lower the bridge itself, and kind of get across. You could sneak in, lower the bridge, and then actually sneak in under the bridge to get over to the other side. You can bypass the bridge entirely if you found like certain gadgets, like the shield gadget that protects you from poison gas as you go across, or the double jump boots, which kind of allow you to jump across the chasm and get across that way. There's even a really kind of messed up way, right? Which is players can actually sacrifice one of their companions. Their companion who they just found is part of.
We're no different than Debrief if we start tossing our own to the rats. I sure as law ain't gonna follow someone who can't see the wrong in it.
I must admit I'm surprised we could come to an understanding. But I thank you for your loyalty, stranger. As promised, you shall have clearance to cross this bridge.
It's such a fun quest, but again, it really showcases that we want you to be able to solve this in whatever way you want to. When you build your character your way, we're there for you. We really want you to have the experience that you want to have out of this.
Les factions, les compagnons.
From the very beginning of our discussions about the Outer Worlds, we really.
Ouais, souvent tu peux te balader avec des potes et te fous dans leur jeu.
T'as un multi là-dedans?
Non, 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 avec des potes du jeu, des pions qui peuvent le faire, des potes.
Arcadia is an isolated colony with abundant resources, and it's run by an authoritarian faction called the Protectorate. Their dictatorship is thematically based around the question of how much freedom people will give up for security and luxury. For Protectorate subjects, unfortunately, that answer is everything. The Protectorate is also incredibly wealthy because it was founded by the inventor of the skip drives, which are the Outer World's faster-than-light engines. But those skip drives are starting to cause rifts in space-time, which are cutting off all the other colonies on Earth from being able to trade with each other. The Order of the Ascendant is an offshoot of the Order of Scientific Inquiry from the original game, and like them are a science-based religion with the same goal of solving the universal equation, which will allow them to predict and alter the future to the benefit of all mankind.
Si, cette année, non? En octobre? Je sais plus.
Je sais pas, j'ai pas noté sur ma fiche.
The player's been sent to Arcadia as an Earth Directorate agent to find out how the skip drives are causing the rifts and what can be done to stop them. Each of the factions have their own solutions to the rift problem and their own goals. The Protectorate wants to close them to protect their legacy as the inventor of the drives and their wealth. The Order wants to close them not only for the good of everyone, but also because they're complicating the math.
C'est marqué 2025, mais t'as pas de... Ah si, 29 octobre.
To open and close them at will to control all the trade routes between the colonies.
J'avais bien écouté.
PC, PS5, Xbox.
So each faction has its own flavor of absurdity. Anti's Choice is a merger between Anti-Cleo and Spacer's Choice from the original game, and there are corporate representatives in the Outer Worlds too.
Ouais.
They've invaded Arcadia to liberate the resources for all of humanity, at a profit, of course.
One of my favorite things from Fallout New Vegas is the radio system. It was just iconic for me, and I wanted to make sure that the Outer Worlds 2 had that. So we actually built out 3 different radio stations, one for each of the major factions. You also have
bonne chance à lui.
Each station might have like I think 20 tracks of unique music that we've made for it.
Pokémon le 16 octobre.
But the really cool part about this entire thing is that we actually put a lot of reactivity into the radio. So it will respond to the things that are going on around the world that you've been interacting with. So if you go into a location, let's say you solve a problem for the Protectorate.
Ouais, mais bon.
If you listen to the
Ça fait
radio station,
de couverture médiatique.
Cheering you on as a hero.
Oui, c'est sûr.
Wonderful news, everyone. The Zeranium gas leaks at the Automech repair facility, strongly believed to be caused by Anti's Choice malefactors, have been corrected.
Some hotshot for hire just managed to fix the electrum leak in their repair facility. Now, I'm not saying we caused it in the first place, but we sure like the idea of all those broken automechanicals and all the excessive gasping and choking involved.
The factions and companions are great examples of how we're going deeper and more complex this time around. They're integrated into the game's storyline much more than we did on the first Outer Worlds, and like with everything else in the game, they have a lot more reactivity. There are 6 companions in the Outer Worlds too. As usual, each has their own quest lines, but this time they are also connected to a different faction and have character arcs that the player can affect through their choices. Your first companion is Niles. He's another Directorate agent like you, and he's looking...
C'est des jeux, ça dure 20 heures en ligne droite en général, mais si tu fais le reste, multiplie par 4 ou 5.
Ouais, ça a l'air.
There's also a somewhat cute Automech support drone that is basically Niles' helper. Her name is Val. Marisol's part of the Order of the Ascendant, and she's an aging but still deadly assassin. That's right, she's a deadly mathematician who may or may not have some unfinished business to attend to with the player's help. There's also a cultist named Azza who is part of a sub-faction that worships the rifts, and in her case, violence in general. You can choose to either turn her away from overt violence or support her chaotic and dangerous tendencies. At one time, Anti's Choice had a program to graft soldiers with animal parts to make them more formidable. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work and most of them are now dead. There's a combat medic who survived, however, named Inez, and she wants the player to help her fix her graft, among other things. Finally, there's Tristan. He's a protected whose judge, jury, and executioner all rolled into one heavily armored package. It is your choice to either help him judge wrongdoers or show him what true justice looks like.
We definitely have reactivity in the game based on how you've been treating your companions. I won't reveal the end of the game, but let's say if you have not been treating them well, you will find out at the end of the game what that means.
Companions are a very, very important part of merchandising because that's the real beauty of the sequel. We're talking merch, baby. It is the lifeblood. It is what fuels us. Do you want to see some of my ideas? Hop, hop. Check this out.
No.
Gen Alpha loves body pillows, especially ones that look like human beings for some reason, right? Who needs a significant other when you could have a knife-wielding
Ouais, ça a l'air d'être ça, ouais. Les oreillers chelous japonais.
Maybe a little napping, maybe a little snuggling, maybe a little nut.
Oh putain, dégueu. Il a dit, ils dorment à côté d'elle. Peut-être ils font plus que ça.
Anti's Choice, which shifts the visuals to be more reminiscent of a World War I-like setting in space. That evolution is seen across all aspects of the game, starting with the factions. How do you militarize everything, including extreme capitalists or math-crazed scientists? In a World War I setting, war comes with propaganda. The sovereign uses it to maintain control, Anti's Choice uses it to help their bottom line. The Order just wants to show how it exists within the grand plan. We want players to feel like Arcadia is a living, breathing place scarred by a long-standing war. Fairfield, one of the first towns you encounter, was once under protectorate control, but has recently been taken over by Anti's Choice. They don't just occupy the town, they rebrand it with their signature style. Buildings, guards, and adding propaganda-based holograms featuring Anti and the Moon Man. Showing the towns evolving after the invasion helps us push immersion for our players. One of our priorities in visually realizing the world of The Outer Worlds 2 was making sure everything is clear and recognizable from the player standpoint. We want to make sure each faction has a particular look and design. So when the player is running across these vast, different environments and landscapes, they're recognizing the motifs and visuals of who they're talking to, what they're going to be talking about, and how that progresses throughout the story. The first Outer Worlds was really about the player interfacing with corporations. And while we have that in The Outer Worlds 2, we really want to express not just the corporations, but how the player interacts with other facets of the world, like government entities or religious structures. And then we elaborate on those.
With larger environments, we wanted to encourage exploration by improving player mobility across the board. Now you can run, slide, double jump, mantle, and parkour your way through all of the nooks and crannies of these worlds. It really allows the player to just explore and have fun finding really cool stuff.
Oh, vous fouillez partout.
We've aimed to make everything in The Outer Worlds 2 better from top to bottom. The RPG elements were the start, but that's touched our story, our art, and especially our gameplay. A good sequel is true to the original. That's first and foremost, right? Like, we all want to add in a bunch of things as you're making a sequel, right? We want to make it bigger and better in every way. That's what we were trying to do here. And I thought, we did not need this consultant. We've made enough sequels. We understand how to do this. And I will say, I don't think it's been entirely successful.
I am very proud of the combat improvements we have made in The Outer Worlds 2, thanks to my patented combat system. You may be thinking to yourself, it can't be that good? Shush, what are you even talking about? You haven't seen it yet. Watch this. Put a helmet on, because I'm about to blow all of your minds with my COMBAT system, combat system. My name is Mark, I'm the head of sequels. Shall we begin? You're thinking, what's C for? C, capitalize the fact that the people loved the first game. We're gonna take those people, we're gonna make them buy the sequel, giving out pounds, pounds, pounds. Quick ones, ha, ha, not you, Dev. Here we go. What comes after C? O, optimize for player satisfaction. I am terrified of online gamers, okay? I wanna make them happy, so let's, okay? All right. Mobilize the players so they're ready for that sweet, sweet pre-order. Clap with me. Sweet, sweet. If you don't have rhythm brain, just say it. Sweet, sweet pre-order. Everybody has a different rhythm and it's blowing mine. And here we go. B, burglarize. What is this? It's basically just finding new ways to loot dead bodies. You know what I mean? Right, Otis? Okay, well, it's a big part of the game. A, you gotta agonize about how many people are gonna be angry that we have just put so much combat into this thing and almost no romance at all. We should look at ourselves. What is wrong with us? Huh? We can't have one love story in this? How many people have been in love? Raise your hands. Raise your hand if you're in love. Okay, are you lying?
I have a wife.
Put your hand down. T.
C'est des fous, hein?
In French, that means 2. Sequel.
I think that means 3.
Okay, you're getting ahead of yourself. Come on, Claire. We're on 2. And how do we end it? Anything is possible. And we've established that we're the best there is, and there's no sequel better than us. And if I could just say one more thing, thank you very much. I know I've kind of changed the world of video games today.
For The Outer Worlds 2, we wanted to improve gunplay in every way. We focused on improving the feel of each weapon, the way a weapon snaps into ADS, the way recoil feels when firing, and how sound effects really sell the weapon's fantasy.
Bon, après, il y a de l'aide à la visée, ça va. C'est une question d'habitude.
Je cherchais une démo, je sais plus comment ça s'appelait. Mais où il y avait du tir, je galérais comme pas possible, alors que le jeu est bien, mais c'est que ça me saoule parce que j'arrive pas à... Je meurs toutes les 5 minutes parce que j'arrive pas à tirer. C'est horrible.
Ouais.
J'ai pas de réflexe ni rien. Là-dessus.
And every time it levels up, it's got fun fanfare where it's like shooting out confetti and it's got fun little setup. We have a really fun weapon called the pop-up gun. It fires out ad drones that will distract your enemies with corporate ads, slogans, and jingles. While your enemies are distracted, you can focus fire on them or explode these drones for additional damage. New to the Outer Worlds 2 are throwables. So you can use frag grenades to flush out enemies, smoke grenades to camouflage and escape, distraction devices to bait enemies into a stealth attack, and even science grenades that will levitate enemies, allowing you to fire upon them while they float helplessly.
Moi, pas me demander d'où ça peut venir. Juste regarder grenades.
And of course, science weapons are back.
En vrai, ils disent qu'ils veulent être réalistes et machin tout ça. Mais en vrai, un mec qui voit un truc voler, moi je regarde d'où ça vient, je regarde pas l'objet.
Oui, bah oui, en plus.
Dans tous les jeux, il est en mode il va vers l'objet, mais. Moi je regarde qui a acheté l'objet avant de regarder l'objet.
And we actually added in the ability to step on them and kind of squish them and kick them because we knew that was the player fantasy. We knew that's what everybody wanted to do. They wanted to step on the enemies, they wanted to kick them. So we made sure to double down on that stuff.
In addition to things like our returning favorites, we also have some really fun and unique new science weapons. One of them is called the Armageddon. This one's really cool because it actually shoots out these masses that are like these little arms that will stick to people or cover or all kinds of different things, and they will continue to just hit them until they get destroyed. And we have another one that's just super cool called the Spectrum Dance Saber. This is a melee weapon that actually lets you attack to a musical beat. And if you continue to do that, you'll actually get additional bonuses each hit you do.
Okay.
One of my personal favorite weapons is called the Big Bang. It's just a big freaking gun that uses material harvested from rifts to shoot out a giant ball of energy, vaporizing everything in its path. Now, ammo's extremely rare for this weapon, but you can use it in just the right situation.
Après, il y a un côté fun qui est cool, hein, qui a l'air d'être cool.
Oui, bah oui, dans le 1 c'était déjà sympa. Pas autant, mais.
At your opponents as you're walking through combat. So we even have science armors, and we've really kind of shown off what we thought was really great for the player from a science perspective.
We're all about letting people play the game their way. There are some players who prefer to be immersed in a first-person view, taking in all of the details. But there are others who really prefer to take the world in from a third-person perspective. Why not allow both? Well, now you can swap between the two, letting you enjoy the experience in whatever way you like. One of the things I really like about having the third person mode is being able to see all the fun and unique armors and armor combinations and weapons that you can equip your player with.
Bah, tu peux alterner, c'est ça qui est bien.
Ouais, bah c'est ça, en fonction de ce que tu préfères et de l'endroit où t'es.
You get to take in the world and see things in a different light.
The Outer Worlds 2 is really the biggest game we've ever made. Bigger choices, more reactivity, more weapons, more things to find in each of the worlds the players can visit.
C'est de la merde, ça.
The team has done incredible work bringing the Outer Worlds 2 to life. And we can't wait for you to play it.
Ah non, c'est de la pisse.
Even though we've always been a multi-project studio, this is going to be the
first time we've released
3 games in 1 year.
Ouais.
It feels amazing to do. We're so excited for more people.
Bah, le premier, ils avaient pas trop de gros éditeurs derrière eux.
Ouais, bah ça joue vachement aussi, hein, c'est là que tu vois la différence. Ce qu'il faut, c'est qu'ils ont fait 2 autres. Enfin, Void, c'est un putain de jeu. Grounded 2, ça a l'air d'être fou aussi en vrai. C'est. Je sais pas combien ils sont dans le studio, mais. The Outer Worlds 2.
Ils vont faire une Xbox. Ah non. Putain, what the fuck.
With the Outer Worlds 2, we're all about the best place to play, which is also the promise of Xbox. You can play the Outer Worlds 2 on this Xbox, but it may be hard to play it when you're staring at all these beautiful holes. You can play the Outer Worlds 2 on this Xbox. Oh yeah, now that's Microsoft. Or you can take a phone call on this Xbox.
Je pensais que Bethesda ils étaient fous, mais je me trouvais plus fou. Hein.
Hello, what am I doing?
Bah c'est des anciens de chez Bethesda donc.
Ah ouais, ah bah ok, je comprends mieux.
You can play the Outer Worlds 2 on this Xbox, but it takes 2 people to lug around safely. We're gonna go up to my apartment, okay?
Vous pourrez jouer sur cette Xbox là, il faut être 2.
Actually wear that also plays the Outer Worlds 2. What do you think, Claire?
This is amazing.
Are you playing?
I think so.
Fantastic. So now this is actually not an Xbox, so you cannot play the Outer Worlds 2 on it. Can't play anything on it. I guess Bread. You ever play Bread where you take it out of one slot, put it in the other? I don't have friends. If you pre-order the premium edition now, you'll get early access, which is like a prequel to the sequel, or is launch the sequel to the pre-order, or like, why are any of us alive at any time? It doesn't matter. Either way, my job here is done. It's time for the Grounded 2 portion of the Direct, which is sort of like the sequel to the Outer Worlds 2 portion of the Direct, which I absolutely just hit a home run with. You know, it's really nice to see my influence go on to other games. Take it away, team.
Eh, vraiment.
And big exit.
Grounded 2. Ça, je suis curieux pour le coup. Parce que le 1 était vachement cool. Je sais pas si tu avais joué toi au 1.
Non, franchement, pas le temps, il y a trop de jeux. Il y a un moment, faut se faire une raison.
C'est vrai.
We're so proud of Grounded. What started as a small passion project to make a quirky game where you're shrunk down.
Et c'est pas vrai, Grounded au départ c'était un petit jeu. Il n'y a pas de mine.
Over 25 million of you jumped in,
25 millions de joueurs.
Built, crafted, and fought off giant bugs together. Y'all helped make the entire experience very special to us. The team's been cooking up a ton for Grounded 2, and we're so excited to talk about it. And to grease some palms to steal a bit of time from the Direct to give you a deeper look. There were so many possibilities and ideas that didn't make it into the first game, so with the sequel, we have the chance to dream bigger. To achieve those dreams, we partnered with the amazing folks at Eidos Montreal. Together, we're taking Grounded from the backyard to an even larger world, the Brook Hollow Community Park.
When we started working on Grounded 2, we knew that we wanted to make a bigger world. Fortunately for us, Eidos Montreal became our main partner on developing Grounded 2. They have a lot of similarities to the sorts of things that are important to us at Obsidian. They tend to make narratively strong games. They make games with really deep characters and great character progression. They make games with great gameplay.
Everyone at Eidos Montreal is thrilled and honored to be working with Obsidian. Our two studios share a lot of DNA. The same things that are important to Obsidian Entertainment are important to us. Choice and consequences, player community.
Je vois le grand mur derrière, du coup ils refont les murs à chaque fois qu'ils changent de jeu ou
great IPs and franchises. The fact that we're the first partners that they're working with to make a sequel to their franchise feels like we're an important part of their history.
The events of Grounded 2 take place 2 years after the first game. The same 4 teenagers are returning.
So there's Max, Hoops, Willow,
and Pete.
They're a couple years older, which means they've gone through a bit more high school, a bit more mature. It's 1992. The world's a little bit different. But we're still in that fun, nostalgic era of the early 1990s. In Grounded 2, we're moving the action out of the backyard and into the Brook Hollow Community Park. Not only is it bigger, it allows us to tell a lot more stories and expand the world of Grounded by exploring what the community of Brook Hollow has been up to and what they've been through.
The park overall is about 3 times the size of the backyard, and our initial starting area is actually the same size as the entire backyard from the first Grounded. The reason we wanted to move the park wasn't just to create a bigger world, but was to give us the opportunity to explore the community of Brook Hollow and what secrets have they been hiding.
What we love and what we're excited about in terms of the park is the opportunity to create environments and landmarks that are mundane at normal size, but are colossal wonders when you're the size of an ant. Everything from a giant trash can.
C'est vrai que tu vois que le monde doit être tellement grand pour les insectes et tout.
Oui.
All of these areas come to life in a brand new way.
Part of the fun in Grounded 2 is that the park was evacuated really quickly
Imagine, genre,
right before our teens were shrunk.
Une fourmi au pied de la
And
Tour
that means
Eiffel.
that the park has been sort of turned upside down in a topsy-turvy state. And that leads to really fun environmental storytelling, but it also leads into the creation of amazing biomes for our characters.
Bah imagine l'Everest.
Oui, bah du coup oui. Bah, je pense qu'ils s'en rendent moins compte parce que l'Everest, c'est tu montes.
Oui, bah oui, oui.
Tu vas pas forcément le sommet, c'est le chemin.
And what this means for our young adventurers is that they'll be able to explore.
Je sais pas à quel point ils s'en rendent compte des grandeurs et tout ça.
Cave of interesting challenges.
Trop occupé à survivre.
Ouais, sûrement.
We have one anthill that's actually somebody decided to bury a bunch of toxic stuff in the park, and so there's all these toxic chemicals underground. The environment looks very cool and very spooky with all of these sort of chemical pools, and of course nothing can live down there except for one type of insect, the cockroach. We're oftentimes reinventing environments, and in future updates you're going to see a ton of new stuff. You do a lot of fighting against insects of all shapes and sizes. We didn't just want it to look better, we also knew we wanted to add a new layer of strategy. The changes that we've made aren't limited to tuning animations or adjusting attack or defense numbers or making characters or insects move faster or slower. But we did all that too, but there's also an entire sort of rock, paper, scissors strategy involving light attacks, heavy attacks, and blocking. We've also added dashing as a new way to both get out of danger quickly or jump in for a quick attack. And almost all the insects in the game will have these abilities now too. Sort of like a chess match, but one that's super frenetic, looks super cool, and is ultimately just a ton of fun. We're leaning into clear playstyles for tanky warriors, low defense, high damage rogues, effect-wielding mages, and ranged hunters.
Ouais, donc chaque môme a sa classe entre guillemets quoi.
And there were weapons and armors that favored different playstyles. In Grounded 2, not only will there be passive mutations, but there will also be active
mutations. Est-ce qu'ils ont choisi un sur les 4 ou alors tu changes de perso en fonction de
archetypes?
My favorite way to play pretty much any game is chasing after those game-breaking builds. And that's why I'm so excited for what we're doing with archetypes in Grounded 2. I'm all in on the rogue. Now, you can even dual-wield daggers. I've been dialing in this glass cannon build that stacks ambush, assassin, and cardiofan mutations with the wolfbane daggers and the wolf spider armor. It lets me open up combat with massive backstab damage that also inflicts venom. Then, I can use the extra stamina to reposition and try to dodge, rinse, and repeat. It's high risk, high reward, and absolute chaos in all the best way. I'm looking forward to seeing what wild combos the community comes up with and what they inevitably break once they get their hands on the archetype system. It's going to be awesome watching it evolve with player feedback and watching us try to keep up with all of your game-breaking builds.
One of the great things about Grounded
il a hâte de voir comment les joueurs vont casser le jeu avec leur build.
Builders to crafters and everything in between. If you've ever watched me on Casually Grounded livestream, you'd know that I'm neither. I am a murderer of insects. Personally, I prefer the term harvester. I love going out, hitting things, and bringing the materials like insect body parts back to my friends to use. This way, we keep progressing and playing together.
We're also trying to make sure that armor and equipment are easily understood by the player, especially when they're playing co-op with their friends. It was really, really important for us to deliver on all of that for the bigger space and experience, because that was the only way we could truly support the feature the community has been asking for since the very first Grounded release. Mounts.
Oh, trop bien!
Ils ont rajouté les montures. Have an entire suite of moves and have their own special.
Oui, ça, il y en avait pas avant.
Non.
We really wanted the buggies to be an
extension. Non, et ça râlait parce que du coup, tu pouvais pas.
C'est
tout le temps à pied.
Ouais. And valuable abilities across all the core pillars of Grounded. that doesn't just mean exploration and travel.
Ouais, on peut faire grimper sur l'araignée.
For combat, crafting, and building as well. Just like how we wanted to expand on player playstyles throughout the game, we're going to make sure that every buggy that we add has its own personality.
The Red Ant Soldier can enlist up to 2 Red Ant workers to follow you around and help you out. If you get into combat and you don't want to fight while you're saddled on your buggy, you can jump off and they'll fight right alongside you and provide support. The Orb Weaver buggies are a little less useful when it comes to general utility, like building a base or harvesting.
Ouais, donc en fait, en fonction de ce que tu veux faire, la monture que tu prends va être plus ou moins utile, quoi. Genre la fourmi va te servir au combat et l'araignée va te servir quand tu vas construire pour ramener des matériaux et tout ça. C'est ce que je comprends. Et celle-ci, elle peut se battre, c'est mieux que pour se battre.
But they're super fun for exploration and combat. Red Ant Soldiers and Orb Weaver Spiders will be available at game preview launch. There will be others in the future, but those are the 2 we're starting with. The connection that our grounded community has with us is
qui va sortir en accès anticipé.
Sequel as we make an even bigger game than the original.
Pretty much from day one, we knew we wanted to return to game preview for Grounded 2.
Sure, ils vont rajouter des trucs après.
Like the game's not done and it's out to the world. But there's so much value.
Il est disponible, mais il n'est pas terminé.
Buggies change how you traverse and navigate the park. What we're doing with Grounded 2 is we're actually keeping zip lines held back so we can see how players engage with buggies, and then we can tweak zip lines to bring them back over time to really complement that buggy experience and make exploring the park far more fun. That kind of feedback loop helped shape the original Grounded, and we wanted to shape the design for Brook Hollow Park, archetypes, buggies, all of it. We also learned a lot from that first time around. One thing that stood out immediately, players blaze through our content, especially the story. That makes sense. Story, characters, world building, that's kind of Obsidian's thing. It's the flavor we bring to the survival genre. So this time, we're starting with a much bigger baseline.
There's been an explosion at Brook Hollow Park. Chaos descended on a ceremony commemorating the 2-year anniversary of when 4 teenagers were miniaturized against their will.
One of our favorite parts of the first game was watching the community uncover clues and spin up theories. This time around, we're leaning even more into that, and we'll be keeping a close eye on what our players discover and how they interpret it. Because you never know what might inspire us as development moves forward.
We really started to hit our groove at the end of Grounded 1. We found that being open about what we were planning and then following through was key to building trust with the community. As a small team, we had to experiment with update pacing and scope, and what we found resonated the most with all of you were bigger, beefier updates, even if it took us a little longer to land. So that's the plan. Larger, more complete updates spaced out just enough so we can take your feedback seriously and make every drop count. You can expect in our big updates, new buggies, new biomes, new building pieces.
Souvent, mais quand même espacé pour qu'ils aient le temps de prendre en compte les retours.
Everyone knows what to be excited about in the future.
All of us at Obsidian Entertainment and IDOS Montreal are super excited about how close we are to letting all of you players get shrunk a second time and explore the all-new park on buggies in Grounded 2. If you're a returning Grounded player, we're really looking forward to you experiencing all the improvements. If this is your first time getting tiny, then all I can tell you is that a world with an entirely new perspective and an entirely new feel awaits you in Brook Hollow Park. It's time to ride together and survive together.
Ok, bah franchement, j'ai hâte de... je crois que c'est peut-être pas toute l'histoire, mais je le testerai au moins, je pense.
Oui, ça donne envie, ça a l'air sympa.
Ouais, je pense qu'ils ont amélioré pas mal de choses en plus, a priori, donc... Plutôt cool. Après, je pense qu'il faudra peut-être attendre peut-être 1 ou 2 mages, peut-être pas dès l'accès anticipé, mais...
Ouais.
Peut-être en fin d'année, début 2026, une fois qu'ils auront fait 2-3 mages. Ok, Grounded 2, et c'est sur ça que ça se termine. The Outer Worlds 2, le 29 octobre et 29 juillet pour Grounded 2. Et c'est sur ça que ça se termine, je pense, Xbox... Ouais. Ça, c'est le récap, c'est ça? Ouais, le récap. Ok, et ben voilà, c'est sur Action 1 le Xbox Game Showcase avec le petit direct après de Obsidian. C'était bien sympa, je sais pas ce que t'as pensé toi Eros, mais on s'est bien amusé hein. Franchement c'est bien cool. YouTube on va s'arrêter là, merci d'avoir suivi. Nous on va enchaîner sur le PC Gaming Show dans quelques instants. Eros toi tu vas partir je crois du coup. Voilà.
Oui.
YouTube, à très vite pour la suite du SGF 2025, il reste encore beaucoup de conférences à voir. Et nous sur la live on se retrouve très vite pour on se retrouve tout de suite pour le PC Gaming Show. A tout de suite, bye YouTube.
Bye.